So great to see, all my friends are here. Come play with me, watch out for rabbits here. Everyone who's anyone is welcome here. So come on, let's have some fun. Sing along with me. Start your day with a dose of Reitanna.
Good evening, dailies and mental gen. It's Reitanna Seishin, and we're gonna do a Q&A of Playing with Fire. But first, I have to show you the reason why page 4 was so late. I did a side project that's gonna make you guys super jelly. Dun 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 dun! Removing the fluffy thing, hooray! Yeah, it's one of a kind. You can't has unless I get written consent to make copies. But this is in acrylic paint. So, and then whoosh. Awesome! Acrylic paint, bitches! And it's a white t-shirt, so I was able to trace Mr. Awesomeness right here on the back in acrylic paint. And if you guys are interested in having this as a poster, I shall paint it, and if anybody would really want to buy it, I could sell it. I could get enlargements and stuff and sell it and stuff. Yeah, so since the t-shirt is see-through, I am wearing a shirt underneath, aside from the fishnet. So yeah, you're super jelly, I know you are. This has nothing to do with jelly. Okay. Oh, another thing is this is just a prototype. It was kind of an experiment. I don't know if it came out real well because there's kind of like air bubbles in it. I mean, it's sealed pretty well, but I don't even know if you can see it. It's a Playing with Fire necklace. It has the little Playing with Fire logo on it. I mean, yeah, there are air bubbles, but if I can figure out a good way to make these, they're just the charms. If I were to sell them, they'd just be the charms. And they're small, so if I were to figure out a better way to make sure there's no air bubbles in here, would you guys buy them? You can request what image you want in them. Ooh, they're about like 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch pictures, so it can't be like a really detailed one like the fuck you, name the time and place panel. Anyway, I have a bad habit of rambling, so we're gonna move on to the Q&A. Okay, I have 32 questions. You guys responded really well. Some of you gave me more than one question, which is awesome. One of you gave me like a bunch of questions, which is awesome. Also, I know I'm still rambling, but some of these things have to be said. For one, the video might be long because of the questions, and for some reason I like to ramble and explain stuff. You know this. You've watched me. You know this. Another thing is, some of you asked the same question, so I only put in the, if you have the same question, I only put it in once. Another thing is, some of you asked questions, even though I said don't ask questions that pertain to future information. Some of you asked questions that pertain to future information. So I can't answer certain questions. So if your question hadn't been answered, the reason is because it would reveal future plot stuff. I'm not going to tell you what happens. That's for me to know and for you to find out over the next 2 years. Alright, I love this shirt. I'm in a really bad mood today because I've been up since 6 o'clock because of a nightmare, so I'm trying to be uppity. Okay, number 1. How did you come up with a solid plot and still manage to keep everyone in character? This is a hard one. So as you know, I was writing Best Years of Our Lives since I was 19. As I progressed, I realized that Dib and Zim were completely out of character. Maybe Dib not so much. If Zim pushed him far enough, I'm sure Dib would become very suicidal. But in Playing with Fire, he obviously is not pushed that far. That would be too depressing. Okay, so they were really, really out of character. So what I did is I drew a new Zim, and he was as tall as the old Zim, and in chapter 1 I shortened him. But I realized, I'm like, okay, Zim is kind of stupid. He's kind of naive. He tries to be evil, but at the same time he's adorable. I mean, even in the show, Zim is freaking cute as hell. He looks like a little bug. He's so cute. So I began to not like Best Years of Our Lives, and I started to kind of think about what would happen in chapter 1 in Rain. And you know, the main jokes that I used were what is this amazing contraption, which was the umbrella. That was his idiocity, and failed to know as much about Earth as he's supposed to. The next joke dealt with I am a man, do you even have genitalia? Want to find out. That one was kind of his progression from being on Earth for 7 years and getting to know a little bit and kind of, you know, picking up some stuff. And then the last joke was, I'm still going to destroy it, after Dib says, you know, you can be happy here. And that was obviously his evilness, you know, attempt at being evil. So coming up with a solid plot line is actually pretty easy for me because I daydream every night before I go to bed. I've done that ever since I can remember. I would make stories in my head, and I would fall asleep. The next night, before I go to sleep, I would try to remember where I left off, where I left off, and I would continue the story until I fell asleep, and that would go on and on until I got bored of the story and created something else. Now, as I got older, these daydreams became actual stories. The first one I ever wrote based on a daydream was The Rain That Ended the World. Now, if I rewrote that story, it would be a lot better now because I wrote that when I was in 8th grade? 8th grade. No, freshman year of high school. So that's how I've come up with every single story, including all my fan fictions. And also, when I get bored in the daytime, when I have got nothing to do and nothing on my mind, I will continue the story or go over the story again in my head while I'm fully awake and not planning on going to sleep. So the solid plot line comes in from my head completely randomly, and when I decided that this was going to be a graphic novel, this is where this little baby came in and wrote down every single thing that's gonna happen in the comic, and we'll add some more stuff in as I'm writing each chapter. Booyah, Grandma! Okay, I went very far with that explanation. Number 2! I was curious about the title, Playing with Fire. Now, I've actually answered this to a couple of people, but here we go. So when I first started it, I believe I was like halfway through chapter 3 or something when I was like, okay, this is getting really popular, and crap, it doesn't have a title. It's just called ZADR Comic. I can't just keep calling it my ZADR Comic. There needs to be something. So what I did was I made a list of like 20 names that pertain to the storyline. Of course, you guys didn't know about the storyline, but I did. So I made sure every single title had something to do with it. And I put it up and had people vote on their favorite ones, and I narrowed it down to 2. It took 3 days to narrow it down to 2 choices. That is amazing. And so the 2 choices left were Evil Intentions and Playing with Fire. Evil was spelled E-V-O-L, like love, backwards. And both of them were, you know, I was like, oh, I hope they pick these ones. Secretly hoping that they picked Playing with Fire, and they did. It was Playing with Fire had 20 votes and Evil Intention had 18. This was before a lot of you came along, so yay. So Playing with Fire, basically, when I put that in the list, Playing with fire is an expression that means delving into something dangerous, something you don't want to do. Like, you don't want to play with fire. It's hot, it's dangerous, you're going to get burnt. So what it means is on Dib's side, he's playing with fire because Zim is an alien who's going to try to take over the Earth. And so Dib is playing with fire by getting into this thing with an evil alien monster that he's been trying to expose and destroy for 7 years. Zim is playing with fire because he's fraternizing with the enemy. He is getting friendly with a human being, the inhabitant of Earth, which is the planet he thinks he's supposed to destroy. And plus, if the tallest ever found out, well, let's just say, he's not allowed to do that. You know that if you've been keeping up with the comic, that he's not allowed to do stuff like this. So, he's playing with fire. They're playing with fire together. Yay! It's dangerous. And plus, they're both guys. So obviously, in both their societies, it's not exactly acceptable. Of course, on Earth, more people accept it. But still, you guys live on Earth. You know how it is. Fuck that shit. Okay, number 3. So I'm curious to know, what processes did you go through to develop the world and bios of the characters in Playing with Fire? Did you use traces from the other from the cartoon, or was a lot of their quirks and mannerisms your own ideas? Both. I did base the world off of Jonan's Invader Zim world. Obviously, when you're making a fan fiction, you can't stray too far away from the original universe because that would make it out of character. So for their mannerisms and stuff, I basically used sort of both from the cartoon and from my own creations, my own ideas. I kept a lot of the, I kind of dropped Dib's crazy freaking out at things because he was young, and now he's a little he's older and he's a little more mature. He still is kind of crazy. He still kind of talks to himself. He still freaks out. I mean, his banging his head on his locker, that was a little excessive. Come on. So he's still kind of weird. And then Zim obviously is must not have been paying attention to the Earth at all during his 7 years of being here, so he's just like, dee-doo-doo-doo, what's that? Oh, what's an umbrella? I don't know. I'm gonna destroy it, though. So, and then some of the quirks and mannerisms and idiosyncrasies that I put into them are actually listed in their profiles. Say, like, Dib. I gave him, his birthday is November 11th. His birthday is November 11th, so I made him a Scorpio. I'm a Scorpio, so I was able to give him characteristics that are usually associated with Scorpios. Some of the characteristics I'm not going to reveal to you quite yet because we haven't progressed into the, of course you Scorpios probably have guessed what they are, but, so I gave him a lot of characteristics of Scorpios, can be kind of mean, sometimes kind of heartless, but at the same time very loyal and very caring. It's with Scorpios, it's like hate and love, and they just kind of go like this. And I sort of made him go a little bit into video games just because I like video games, but he likes more of the horror, survival and stuff like that, not like Gaz, who likes, the fighting and the action. He's not quite good at these games, though. He's not, a big gamer. He likes reading. Reading is his main thing. I also made him a fantastic student. Now, I was a good student, not a fantastic student. I wasn't taking AP classes, but he's taking advanced classes, and he, is obsessed with his homework and obsessed with perfect attendance. I was obsessed with perfect attendance. My friends used to joke that they would have to hold a gun up to my head to get me to go home if I felt sick. I believe I was gone for only a couple of days during the entire 4 years of high school, not counting choir field trips and biology field trips and stuff like that. And what else did I give Dib? His love for horror movies, like Japanese horror movies, I gave Dib. I don't remember what else I gave him, but it's in the profile. Zim, I gave him a lot of characteristics of me because he is the uke and he is submissive and I'm submissive. So I was able to give him a lot of characteristics. For one, he's the same height as me. He is 5'4", and Dib is 6'1". He's tall. And Zim is naive in some areas and has a very dirty mind in others. Of course, since he hasn't, been fully, well, now he's probably been pretty corrupted now that he's actually done it. But he's sort of corrupted in the head. That's what Earth, does to you. That's what humans do to you. So he's got, a dirty mouth sometimes. I also decided to give him a love for sweet things because, Urkins, live off of junk food anyway, so I'm like, well, if he can eat waffles and not get sick unless Gert puts peanuts and soap in them, then he can eat cake, right? And but I don't think he's tried cake quite yet, and when he does, he will definitely demand cake constantly from Dib. Like, human, get me cake right now, or I will destroy you. But I don't really know if I'm gonna put that in the main plot line or in a side comic when this is, I'm not gonna go into that. What else did I give Zim? It's in his profile. Go read his fucking profile. So basically, the characteristics and stuff that I thought of are based off of personal characteristics, and then also building on top of the characteristics they had in the cartoon. At the same time, trying to mature them a little bit. Zim, not so much. Zim is not very mature at all. He's still kind of a child. But Dib, I pushed more into maturity. 4. How did you turn into a fan of Invader Zim? Funny story. I think Invader Zim came out when I was 10? No, 9. I remember I was living in Wallace, Idaho, which was the same town that Dante's Peak was filmed in. Well, at least parts of it. I lived in an alleyway that the car drove through, and all the wires were like snapping, and they were trying to get away from the lava, and they were driving in the same alleyway I lived in. And I saw Dante's Peak, and I was like, dude, I lived there! One of my favorite movies. Anyway, so, and I was watching Nickelodeon, and I don't remember if you remember this, but like if you're like in the middle of watching SpongeBob or the Rugrats or something, all of a sudden it would like flicker out, and it'd be all like white noise and static and stuff. And I don't remember if there was one with Zim actually threatening to come to Earth, but there was one where Dib was like, he's coming, blah 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 blah, he's warning us about this alien coming, and I was like, what is this? And as it progressed on, they showed that Invader Zim coming soon to Nickelodeon. So when it first aired, I immediately fell in love with it, and as soon as I saw it, it became an obsession. I started crossing my Z's because of in the first episode when Dib has a little doodle of a human and an alien, and underneath it says Zim. Underneath the alien it says Zim. He crossed his Z. Ever since then, I've crossed my Z's. I also started drawing Invader Zim style, and that's where a lot of my cartoony styles come from. So even with my own cartoons, I will give both anime characteristics and sort of Invader Zim characteristics. But I've been practicing Invader Zim drawing styles for about 10 or 11 years. So that's how I got into Invader Zim. Number 5, is Dib a hipster? No, Dib could care less about brand names. He likes his coat, and he likes his skinny jeans, black jeans, and he likes his face shirt. Where does he get all these shirts? He's worn the same shirt for 7 years. There must be some store that supplies emoticon shirts, and he just likes the emotionless one. I will reveal that Dib does own other shirts, but he wants to wear the face shirt. Yeah, he's not a hipster. That's so out of character for Dib. Okay. 6. I was wondering if you were a ZADR fan before any of the Playing with Fire started. Funny story. So, I don't remember if I was 18 when I found this picture or if I was 19. Because when I was 19, I actually started writing Best Years of Our Lives. So obviously I got into ZADR when I was 19, for sure. But I found this picture when I was looking for Invader Zim pictures. I think, well, I put it on the screen, and it says, Dib is saying, he's trying to get back one of his alien devices I hid in my belt, I swear. And then Zim is like, your dad's giving us the same weird look that your worm baby classmates always give us. So ever since then, it kind of made me blush, and I kind of clicked away from it. I did the same thing when I first discovered yaoi. I'll get into that in a second. So I clicked away, and then clicked back, and I clicked away, and then clicked back, and then I clicked save. And I was like, and then, so it was the same reaction when I was, a long time ago when I was 15, I believe, 14 or 15. I was looking up Sonic the Hedgehog pictures, and I come down to this icon, I scroll past it, but then I go, and I scroll back up, and somebody manipulated some footage from Sonic X to make it look like Knuckles is giving Sonic a blowjob. And mind you, I don't like that pairing. I can't even think of any yaoi pairings for Sonic that I would like. So, but I kind of just stared at it for a second, and I was like, save. And ever since then, it's been, you know, it was meant to be. So I don't remember exactly how I started really getting into ZADR before I started writing my fan fiction. Obviously, I was more into the Goku and Vegeta pairing, but somehow I decided that it was hot and I liked it. So yes, I was a ZADR fan before Playing with Fire started. What is your favorite expression drawn in Playing with Fire? That's number 7. Crap! So, my favorite Zim expressions include his scared ones from chapter 2, page 12. Just page 12 through 14 has amazing Zim expressions. I also like, where is it? On page 21 of chapter 2, the face he gives when he says, "Do you have a cell phone?" It's awesome. And another one of my favorite Zim expressions is obviously on chapter 3, page 18. "Did you get the death call?" Which is basically the same expression as "Do you have a cell phone?" I also like the expression he gives when he on chapter 3, page 22, when he says "name the time and place." Of course, expressions like "you with all your staring." Just his crazy expressions I love, but also his sexy expressions. For example, chapter 5, page 22, frame number 4. "What the tallest don't know won't hurt them." I love drawing that. And his cute expressions too, just the innocent big eyes like, what? I love it. Okay, and then Dib's expressions, my favorite expressions, in no particular order. The one in the page where Zim says that he likes the pillow. His expression in the last frame is just like, "da fuck," and I made a da fuck icon. So that expression, and also the expression on page 11 on chapter 5 in frame 4, his "I'm seriously gonna talk to you right now." Dib, 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 dib! His shy expressions are pretty cute, but what I really like about Dib is his exasperated or angry expressions. And if you guys are Dib fans, you are really going to love Dib for the rest of the comic. You're really gonna love Dib for the rest of the comic. Another couple of favorite expressions are chapter 4, page 5, frame 3, when Mrs. Sowers is pushing them into the detention chamber. Just freaked out expressions are my favorite. I love it. And yeah, okay. Question 8. What is your favorite page? Motherfucker, why did you have to ask this? Okay, yeah, I'm going with it. I have to. Chapter 5, page 20. You know what I'm talking about. That's my favorite page. I'm probably so red right now. Oh god! That's perfect! Question 9. Did any of the scenes make you blush? Yes! Yes, they did! The entirety from... Oh my god! I'm just looking at the pages right now. From page 14 through 23, I believe. Just gave me the giggles on chapter 5. Yeah, especially... Especially chapter 5, page 17, frame 1, 2, 3, with the tongues. After I drew that, I was like, oh my god, I can't believe I drew that. Is it going too far? No, it's not going too far. And then obviously page 20, we're forever just... sorry. Sorry. I mean, all the other really cute, intimate scenes were, you know, that cute and intimate, but it wasn't until they actually did stuff that got me just really like, eh. Anyway, moving on. Oh, that must have been a question pertaining to my mood in my journal. Why did my mood say grumpy? Why did my mood say? Oh, probably because I had to go to work. And I couldn't look on my phone. Anyway, question 12. Oh, fuck. What was your least favorite background to draw? Oh, God. Okay, let's see. I'm torn between the cafeteria and Zim's house. You know what? I'm gonna have to say, it's not just the cafeteria, it's the school in general. The school is worse to draw than Zim's house by a long shot. I hated drawing the halls, I hated drawing the classroom, I hated drawing the cafeteria. The only part of the school that was good drawing was the detention chamber because it's a blank metal chamber that has nothing in it. I hate the school, and I have to draw the school again. Anyway, question 13. What was your least favorite item to draw repeatedly? Haha! Well, first it was the umbrella, and now it's the pillows. Yes, the pillows may be more simple than the umbrella, but I still hate them, and I hate shading them. I hate pillows, but not as much as the umbrella. I hate drawing the umbrella, and I'm so glad there's no more rain for the rest of the comic. For whatever reason, October is now all... It's cold, but it's sunny! So yeah, no umbrella. Hate umbrellas! Fucking hate umbrellas! Okay. Oh, crap. I skipped one. I skipped question 11. Is the method you use for shading cell shading? No, it is not cell shading. It's just coloring in Photoshop and selecting areas to be shaded. Anyway, 14. Is there a keyboard in chapter 2 of Playing with Fire? Yes. There is a keyboard. Yes, there's a keyboard. I forgot to draw a keyboard. So, since I forgot to draw the keyboard, and the mouse, and the computer tower, let's just pretend that the computer tower is underneath his desk, and his desk is like mine, where it rolls out. And let's pretend his mouse is right here and his keyboard is right here. And when you see the desk, it's under here and you can't see the keyboard. So yes, there is a keyboard in chapter 2. Shh. Okay, do you write a script first or draw first? Script, of course! I never used to write scripts, and that would end up with me failing at comics and not completing them. The only comic I have ever completed without writing a script was the first volume of Jan and All Evil Things Fuzzy. And this is not including that one Karate Squirrel comic and a couple of Sticky comics, and that one D-Bell comic. 2 D-Bell comics? 1 D-Bell. I don't remember. And that one Satan comic. I don't remember! No, I didn't finish that one either. I don't remember which one I didn't finish. Anyway, so yeah, I read the scripts first. So I have all the summaries in this little book here. As soon as I'm done with chapter 6, I have chapter 7 and 8, their scripts written, but I'm gonna write a couple more scripts before I actually start chapter 7. It's very helpful to write a script, because then that way I don't have writer's/drawer's block, which is an awful thing to have. You know, they say that to get rid of drawer's block, just draw a cow in a box. It works. It's worked for me. Anyway, question 16. Have you ever had a dream of one of your scenes? Not necessarily one of my scenes, but I did have a dream about if Playing with Fire was a cartoon, an adult cartoon, of course. Zim and Dib were in the classroom, and Zim was verbally torturing Mrs. Sowers. So, yeah, he got in trouble. He got in pretty bad trouble. Anyway, so, yeah, that's really the only dream that I can remember of anything close to Playing with Fire. Question 17. I know that this story came from Best Years of Our Lives, but exactly what was the thought process of when you first thought of Playing with Fire? Well, like I mentioned before, chapters 1 and 2 were kind of accidental. chapters. It wasn't meant to be a big comic like this. They were just meant to be little mini comics that have to do with this version of Zim and Dib. And it ended up becoming something popular, and that's when it became the beginning of a graphic novel. Basically, chapters 1 and 2 were just based off of random daydreams I had that were based off certain jokes and that I built off of them. Then it starts, chapter 3 starts the overarching storyline. That, again, comes from the daydreaming and stuff. The thought process... Okay, let's just say this. I'm in love with Denial. If you have ever read Domination or Submission... Nope, Submission doesn't have Denial in it. Domination. Domination's the big one, which is Dragon Ball Z yaoi fanfic. My better one. My first one wasn't really that good. I'm in love with Denial. I keep the characters in denial that they like each other for as long as I possibly can. It makes things interesting, it makes it funny, it also makes it depressing and makes the readers anxious and keeps them on their toes. So the thought process of everything is just keep them in denial for as long as I can. And how do they get out of denial? What's the best and least cliche, the least corny way of getting them out of denial? And that's how I work towards it. In Playing with Fire, I actually got up to 19 chapters where the story technically concludes itself, and I'm like, I don't want 19 chapters. Hey, let's add like an epilogue chapter. So chapter 20, ba-bam, wha-cha, Shazam, poof, with the greatest of ease. So, yep, 20 chapters. The last chapter's kind of like, you know, I put it in there because I don't want an odd number of chapters. Anyway, what is sexier? This is 18. What is sexier, uke dib or semi-dib? Semi-dib. 19. What is sexier, uke zim or semi-zim? Uke zim. I used to think semi-zim was better, but uke zim is, I'm in love. He is on the bottom. Well, I mean, figuratively. I'm not going to get into details. Question 20. What happened to Miss Bitters? Is she making life hell for some other kids now, or did she die and become ruler of the underworld? Miss Bitters, obviously it's been 7 years. Miss Bitters in the comic is very old. So I made her dead. Of course, I don't actually say what happens to her, but it's, inferred that in my world she's dead because she was old. What does happen to her when she dies? Maybe not become the ruler of the underworld, because I have a couple of characters that could definitely be better rulers of the underworld, original characters, but she would definitely be maybe chief in command of the underworld army. I don't know, Miss Bitters, whatever. Question 21. Will Tak or Keith make an appearance in the comic? Okay, if Tak made an appearance, that would be pretty cliche. It's been 7 years. She hasn't come back. She's not going to come back. Don't exactly know what happened to her, but the story is not about Tak. It's about Zim and Dib. It's not about Tak. So Dak. So Tak is not coming back. Too cliche. Too much conflict that doesn't have to do with the main conflict. Keith, he might appear in the background with, the same as all the background characters have been appearing at the school, but he's not actually, he's not actually gonna, be, I hate Keith. So he might be, I don't know, it depends if I feel like, drawing him. 22, if DA was shut down before you finished the comic, what would you do and where would you repost? Fuck. Is it possible that DA would get shut down? I don't know what I'd do. I'd probably have to find some site that was dedicated to ZADR. Obviously I have all the pages stored on my hard drive on my computer, but God, I would lose, like, every single one of my fans unless every single one of you are subscribed to this YouTube channel. I don't know. I really don't know. But DeviantArt is a pretty big site, so let's not talk about if DA was shut down, okay? Question 23. Why does Dib blush a lot? This is actually a pretty good question. You'd think that it would be obvious why he blushes a lot, but if you really think about it, from my point of view, the creator, it's not that obvious. Obviously, it's obvious that Dib is obviously the seme. So he's the top, he's the pitcher, he's the dominant one. However, he's still human. And the fact is, and I'm sure you guys have experienced this with a crush, whether or not it was the same sex or the opposite sex. Somebody you had a crush on, and what's worse, somebody you had a crush on that you hate, that you thought you hated. Being around them, looking at them, and seeing them, it's an involuntary reaction for you to blush. It happens a lot to, like, even to me when I don't have a crush on somebody, just if I see, like, somebody who's very attractive, it's hard for me to make eye contact, and I'm sure I'm blushing because I can feel the heat in my cheeks. So Dib blushes a lot because, for one, he's in denial, and for two, he involuntarily thinks that Zim is the cutest thing on the planet, and every time he thinks, oh my god, he's so cute, he goes, "The fuck, why did I say that? Oh my god! Hit head on locker!" So he blushes because he's scared, and he's nervous, and he's anxious, and damn, Zim wears some low riding pants. So, and Dib's also curious, and unfortunately he's curious. He is, and I will reveal this because it's not, revealing any future information, well, not anything important, but Dib thinks he's straight. So yes, Dib is straight, according to him. So, taking into account of that, the fact that he's having all these involuntary feelings about somebody who he hates, who's somebody from outer space, who's a kind of a threat to the Earth, and who's also a male, yeah, makes him kind of nervous. Doody-doody-doo. Question 24. Do you like the title of this comic the best, or no? Well, I kind of already answered that in one of the previous questions. I do like the title, Playing with Fire. I think it's more metaphorical than Evil Intentions. Evil Intentions would have meant, like, evil, like, Zim is evil, but it's spelled love backwards, so love. But I like Playing with Fire because it's not so frilly. It's not so flowery. It's like, playing with fire. What is that about? Why are they playing with fire? What does it mean? So yeah, I like Playing with Fire. Doody-doody-doo. Question 25. How do you draw and color your comics so quickly? Okay, so here's my agenda every single day. On a work day, I will wake up. If I'm hungry, I will eat. If I'm not hungry, I will check messages. And then I'll draw the comic. I'll work on the comic. I'll eat eventually, and I'll take bathroom breaks, but I'm drawing, either listening to music or watching TV at the same time, drawing. Gotta get ready to work. Go to work. And if I'm actually drawing on a page, I'll take it to work and work on it on my 15-minute break. Lunch break. Come home. Work on the comic. Go back to work. 15-minute break. Work on the comic if I can, if it's not on the computer. Go home. Work on the comic. So it's either drawing the page or coloring it on the computer. And sometimes I accidentally stay up until like 1 or 1:30 trying to finish a page. And then I go to sleep. And then I wake up. And I work on the comic. So basically I'm constantly working on this comic. The only time I don't work on it is if I have to eat, go to the bathroom, get something to drink, sleep, go to work, check messages, or have a really insane desire to do something like this. I wish I could clone me so one of me can work on the comic, one can work on stuff like this, and the other can just all of us work on different things so that I can finally get merchandise there. Just even little things. Just, argh! Anyway, so yeah, that's how they come out so quickly. The fact that I devote my time constantly. Oh, day off! Working on a comic all day unless I'm doing a video. And it's going to take a while for me to edit this, so my comic drawing has been pushed back a couple of hours. Yeah, so days off are the best because sometimes I can get up to 3 pages a day. posted. Like one time, it was when they were in the detention chamber. It was really easy to basically push out 6 pages in 2 days because there was barely any detail to draw in the detention chamber. 26. Is Gur like not part of this comic, or did he disappear off the face of the earth? Well, Gur, you know, did show up in page 2 of chapter 5. No, Gur is not off the face of the earth, but if you notice, Zim's only been home, or we've only seen Zim home once. Zim isn't going to take Gur to school, and Zim isn't going to take Gur to Dib's house. Gur is going to show up a little more. We're only on chapter 6 out of 20, you guys. Gur's going to be there. Just like when you guys were like, where's Gaz? Well, Gaz showed up. It was daytime, and it was school, and, you know, Gaz showed up. Where's Gaz? So, where's Gur? He's at home. Or out chilling with his pig homies. You know, dancing at the club. Anyway, what caused you to choose the pairing over, say, Zager or ZADR, which is Zim and Gaz or Zim and Tak? Oh god. It's the same thing as Vegeta and Bulma and Goku and Chi-Chi. Okay, let me tell you a funny story. I was looking at pictures of Gaz to reference her, to draw her in the comic on Google. Google. And I came across a picture of Zim and Gaz. It wasn't anything dirty. It was just them like hugging. And I figuratively barfed. I was like, ah! It's horrendous! I don't like it. I don't know why. I don't like... Maybe I'm heterophobic. I don't know. No, I'm not, because I like Gohan with Videl. Gohan is straighter than straight. Yamcha can die. But Gaz and Tak is kind of cute together. But I don't know. Zim and Gaz, Zim and Tak, just... Mike's funny because he's like, you react to that, but people who don't like ZADR react to ZADR like the way you react to Zager or ZADR. ZADR. Zim and Tak. 28. While you're drawing the comic, do you ever just have to like step back a minute to release some fangirling steam? Because if we go wild reading it, do you go wild making it? Yes. Yes, I do. For instance, let's go back to page 17, chapter 5. Panel 3. Oh my god. You have no idea how many times I just had to sit there and go, both a lot of sketching and inking and coloring it, just kind of sitting there and go and then Mike will look over at me like I'm crazy. I'm like, don't look. He knows what I'm drawing, but I'm like, and then of course page 20. Well, page 18 too, though. Last panel. And the third panel. And then 19. And then 20. If I could get a bloody nose right now, I totally will. Oh my god! Closing it, closing it, closing it. Next question, next question. 29. What do you think Jonan Vasquez, the closet fanboy, would say if he read this comic from start to its most current point? Okay, from what I've read on the internet, Jonan Vasquez hates ZADR. I don't know if that's actually true because I've never met him, but going from interweb info, God, it's really difficult because I've converted a lot of anti-ZADR people to liking ZADR because of this comic. Like, strictly because of this comic. So, I'm like, ugh! Okay, I have to try to put myself in Jonan's place. But I don't know how. The fangirl in me is too overpowering. Okay. I think Jonan would like that I draw them so well. But when it starts getting to those points, he might... I don't know. If he truly does hate it, then he would truly hate moi. I'm sure he would like the drawings, but he'd probably be like, you're a bitch. So, I don't know. I really don't. It's not like I'm gonna go to InvaderCon and go up to him and be like, hey, how do you feel about Invader Zim and Dib having sex? I could just imagine his face going. Anyway, question 30. Has there ever been a point while drawing this where you felt like putting the project on hold out of frustration or just lost interest? Not really. The only time ever that ever kind of sort of happened was, where did it go? Chapter 5, page 18, panel 4. I sat there, I literally drew that frame 5 different times. And 5 different ways, like different poses, different ways, like 5 completely different ways, could not get it right. And finally I was like, fuck this shit! I am hiding their faces and I'm just gonna show their heads and torsos! Fuck you, Mr. Bear! You speak lies! Where the fuck is the Bactine? Anyway, so it was that one, and I know there's one other one where it wasn't I wanted to put the project down, it was that it was kind of telling me, you need to go to sleep because you are obviously having trouble sketching out this certain thing. Oftentimes, if I am having trouble trying to get across what... Oh, right, and page 20, actually, frame number 4, close, took a little while for me to draw as well, trying to figure out how I was going to draw that. Stuffy nose. So, usually when I am having trouble drawing it, it is because I'm up late and I need to go to bed. But otherwise, I haven't thought about putting the project down and just, taking a huge break from it. Not willingly. I've tried to take breaks from it, and I'm sitting there going, I can't take it anymore! And so I go back to it. So it's really good, though, because being bipolar, I lose, oh, my hamster's awake. I lose interest in projects very quickly. I don't know if it's the medication stabilizing my moods that's helping me, but regardless, I'm so used to just dropping projects and not finishing them, and now that I actually have something that I know I'm going to stick to, I feel completed. 31. How did you react when you realized this comic had so many fans willing to do fan art of a fan comic? Oh my god, you guys, I wanted to cry from sheer joy. I squealed "Ureshi desu" when I saw the fan club. When I started seeing hundreds of comments every single day on my DeviantArt, it overwhelmed me with happiness. I had never felt so much joy and pride in something I didn't even intend to become famous. And look at it! Look how popular it is now. We're only on chapter 6. Imagine how famous it's going to be when it finally gets up to the higher chapters. I mean, freaking A! Holy shit! This is like, it's growing like spectacularly. And happiness is not the right word. I don't think they have a word in existence that explains how happy I am. But joy crying, yes. I love it. I love everything about everything right now. And the last question, 32, is there going to be any character death? Now I can answer this because it's not revealing any information, because no, there's not going to be character death. Why would I kill off one of my characters? Okay, some of the chapters are going to make you really, really depressed. Especially chapter 16. Chapter 16 is probably the most depressing chapter in the entire comic. Oh, I'm just really excited about drawing this because I am going to make it so emotional. I want to make you guys cry. It's not that I want to hurt you, it's just that you know when something's good when you cry about it. When something is supposed to be sad and you cry, you know it's good. So, I might have to really push some boundaries with my own emotions. I might have to cross the line on my own view of sadness. And I might have to kind of make myself feel a little depressed just so. I'm not going to not take my meds. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to go that far. But I am going to try to channel what's going on in that chapter to put in as much sadness as I possibly can. And that way, people can feel the pain. And there are a couple of other chapters that are going to make you really sad, like Chapter 11. Chapter 11 is going to make you pretty depressed too, but not quite as depressed as Chapter 16. So look forward to that. Prepare your brain for emotional distress. But no death. Not going that far. Why would I do that? No. Dib isn't even suicidal in this one. Gets pretty damn close, but... What? Who said that? Okay, so that was the Q&A. That took like an hour. Holy fucking shit. I might have to cut a lot of stuff down because I ramble. So yeah, that was the Playing with Fire Q&A. I've been putting this off, but I want to write to Nickelodeon to get written consent to make t-shirts. I don't have very much faith, but I might as well try because the worst they can do is say no. And if I can, then I will make professional versions of this shirt for you. You know, digitalize it and digitalize the back because it looks awesome, and that way you guys can buy it if you want to, if I get consent. However, the image on the back of my shirt is this, and regardless, I want to paint this. But if you guys were interested in it being a poster, I could either... I think it might be better if I digitalize this to make it a poster. But if you guys do want to buy posters, let me know. And let me know, like, you know, stuff. Like, if I already have a picture that you want a poster as, sure. Why not? If you guys want it, I can sell it on my Etsy. And then in these charms, if that sparkles with you, let me know if you want the charms, and if you do, then I will do some more experimenting to see if I can get the air bubbles out. This one remains mine because it has air bubbles. I'm not going to send you guys shitty stuff. Button Maker's still on hold, when we finally get it, Mike is demanding commission. He's demanding 10% of whatever I make. The bastard. What else? Still trying to think of jewelry besides this. If you guys have any ideas, that'd be awesome. I do want to make keychains, but the only idea for keychains I have is the Freedom Apple. I want to make plushies, but again, I can't mass produce them because I don't have all of the materials, and it does take a really long time. And my, I can only hand sew. I don't know how to use a machine. I was thinking of magnets. You guys want magnets? I can make magnets. Yeah. And you know, I'm open to ideas as long as they're in my power. You know, if you guys want something, shoot me a message, yo. Anything, just leave me a comment, shoot me a note, tell me, what do you want? Because I like totally might be able to put it together for you, and I might get better ideas if you guys shoot me your ideas, because you're the consumer. If you are going to buy Playing with Fire merchandise, what would you want to buy? Tell me! It's supply and demand, people. If you demand it, I will supply it, as long as it's within my power and financial budget! It would sure give my Etsy some stuff to put in it. Yeah, so Q&A, yay, hour-long Q&A. Gonna have to try and edit it down because I ramble and I explain stuff a lot, and I'm still doing it. Holy shit, I need to stop. If you have survived the Q&A this long, congratulations. You are a real Reitannite, and I love you for it. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and working on page 5. I'm almost done sketching out panel 6. It's gonna be the 6 panel layout. And then I'm going to go ink it, and I'm going to color it, and then I'm going to work on page 6, and so on, and so forth. And at some point I need to eat. Haha, humans need to survive to eat. Who knew? Okay. Yeah. Give me your ideas.
Okay, what the fuck? The video, like, totally cut out the audio. So... I will give you a proper goodbye. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. This has been Reitanna Seishin. Sayonara.